experiences. And I'm going to try and take some of this idea of sports psychology research and try and tie that into what we do in physical education and make it a little bit more user-friendly. I'm going to use this handout, and I have handouts here too. I don't. Gopher was nice enough to make these.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm going to, yeah, I better stop right there and have you pass so I don't get feedback. Make sure you get a ticket. So how this started is I was getting my doctorate. I took more exercise psychology classes than I probably should have, and I wasn't a very good student, but my whole focus was to try and make exercise psychology applicable to teachers, because it gets real theory heavy and it's not real user friendly. So I started with this and came up with praise, and they're all research based, but the components of this, the first one is perceived competence, then there's relatedness, autonomy, individuality, social support, and enjoyment. I'll be honest, the I is not necessarily theory-based, but before that I had pairs, and that wasn't as great as praise. So that's why I added the I. Keep stopping. I just gotta recognize my face. This is creepy that it... There we go. So you have the handout. So if you look at the perceived competence, this is really what we're focusing on here is making kids feel successful. And so when you start your progression, starting with the easiest activity, last time I did this, and this. Here. Can I just have those handouts? Yeah, hand it back that way. I'll go this way. Everybody's got a handout, that's good. So you can see the perceived competence is starting with a difficult task, focusing on success, making kids feel successful, and that really comes down is focusing on the process. A lot of times what we focus on in physical education is a product of how many times can I hit a target, those types of things, as opposed to process. Most kids can do your cues. They might not ever be able to hit a forehand accurately, but they can do all the cues and have some experience of success. Now, I say this all the time, I'm not an everybody gets a trophy guy, but I am everybody gets a chance to be successful in physical education, because if you're not successful, you're not going to keep doing it, and we have to make kids feel successful. Let me look down through that. Meaningful feedback is another piece of that. Instead of saying good job what? Good job, I like the way you did this. Good job, you're cooperating, those types of things. Can you get him back on this? Thank you. All right, so the R is relatedness, and relatedness, as you can see over on the meaningful side, has everything to do with connections. And I talked a little bit about this in an earlier session, but relevant experiences, get to know your students. What's relevant? What do they like? What are they into? The best example of this is I have a buddy that he used to do obstacle courses, and now he does ninja courses because they like ninjas, so now it's a ninja course. It's the same thing. Once in a while he'll put the lights down a little lower, and he'll play some music that they play, because they all watch the Ninja Warrior show. So he'll play that music, and it just changes everything. And it's just that's just finding out what they like and meeting them where they are. Doing this early in the year, finding out what your kids. I have another colleague that he has every week or any time during the school year that they have a picture of themselves being physically active. They bring it in and he sticks it up on a bulletin board. A, it's a good way to fill a bulletin board, and he doesn't have to do it all the time. But B, it shows what they're interested in and helps him connect with them. So establishing connections. When I was teaching, all of the students, this is how old I am. Do you guys remember the cartoon Recess? Yeah, all our students watched it. So I got up 22 years old, got up on Saturday mornings. In the olden days, you had to get up Saturday mornings to watch cartoons and watch Recess, so I would know what they were saying and all those types of things. So any way that we can connect with students, emphasizing the why, but the why is for them right now. They want excitement, they want fun. They don't care if they're gonna have high blood pressure when they're older, right? They care about what's right now, and so excitement. So any way that we can relate to students and connect with them, connecting with our students connecting with the activity, or students connecting with each other. The A in praise is autonomy, which is all about giving kids choices. This is somewhat uncomfortable for some teachers, letting go, but if we can allow kids to make choices. For example, instead of saying everybody do 10 push-ups, play music for 30 seconds and do as many push-ups as you can. Some kids will be able to do 10 push-ups. Some kids will never be able to do 10 push-ups. but they get to pick their workload. At a high school level, you can have different tracks that students can pick from, so they might pick a team sport track, or they might pick an individual track, or they might pick cooperative, or they might pick dance, but they have that choice because we like to have choices. If you walked into your fitness facility where you were going to work out and they had one type of treadmill and that was it, that would probably be the last time you go there. It's nice to give them as many choices in the middle of a lesson. For example, if you let kids, they can choose to catch with 2 hands, 1 hand, or the back of their hand. Let them make the choice, and providing them those options will help them. Most kids will pick an activity that challenges themselves, but they can experience success. The individuality, this is one that's kind of new to me a little bit, but is this idea of challenging yourself. For example, if you have a Ninja Warrior course, have kids, have they go through it. What challenged you? How did you get over that challenge? We have to let kids know challenge and failure is a part of learning. And if you can challenge yourself and identify, that's what I did, challenge. How did you get over that? I had an obstacle course one time we were doing at a school in Lexington, and the kids were talking about their challenges and how they got over them, and one student said, I just went around it. Like, yeah, I mean, there's something to that, and so that's one way that we can convey this idea of individuality, and having the kids pick the just right challenge. What challenges you, but you can experience success, and having, it's like the Goldilocks challenge. The Goldilocks, it's pick something that you can be successful at, and I think it's important that we have provided those opportunities for kids to treat them as individuals, letting them know my physical activity choices are my individual choice. The S is social support, or building a sense of community. You guys have a pretty good idea of the importance of peers and social, involving family members. Maria just did a great job about how to get families and how to get other things involved in the school, getting a PE demo night, where parents are engaged and parents come to the activity, being a positive role model. This is where I usually get my chance to talk about the importance of smiling as a teacher. And if you're not sure if you smile a lot, video yourself. I have a video of me on VHS somewhere when I was teaching, and I watched it and I'm like, wow, did you like your job or life in general? It was awful, it was miserable to watch. So smile, and I always tell people, smile so much that people wonder what you're up to. And that's kind of fun that way. Everybody in your school thinks you're nuts because you smile all the time. Yeah, that's what you want. And they're like, what's that person have? And they want to find out what you're doing. And that's role modeling for kids and smiling. And anytime I do workshops with teachers, the first time we come out and everybody's like, make sure your face knows that you love your job. I ask student teachers all the time, do you love this? Yeah. Make sure your face shows that too. So that's the social support, again, cooperative activities, all those types of things. And the last thing is enjoyment. And I think so many times as teachers, we get so focused on our GLOs, it's like, the bottom line is if they're not enjoying it, it's not all about fun. But if it's not enjoyable, and the other word is captivating, if it's not this riveting experience, they're probably not going to keep going and not keep engaging in physical activity. So we have to keep an eye on this enjoyment. That's why I have a balanced curriculum. I'm just not a fan of doing the same thing for 4 or 5 weeks in a row, because if I don't like volleyball, that stinks. And I don't want to eat for 4 or 5 weeks in a row, and that's not fun. And our dynamic PE ASAP curriculum has a variety, and that's kind of what we stand for, is having a variety of activities. And again, a lot of this overlaps, as you see. For example, if I can create, instead of an obstacle course, it's a Ninja Warrior course, that's a lot more fun. And that's enjoyable, and it's captivating, and it gets kids where you need them to be. So what I've done: perceived competence, relatedness, autonomy, individuality, social support, and enjoyment. And then on the right-hand side, there's a whole series of literature, some folks in Canada, making physical education experiences meaningful. And there's a parallel for meaningful and motivating. And you can see this is kind of a, what they used to call when you document, reference the standards, there was a crosswalk or something, wasn't that term they used not too long ago? Anyway, so this just shows the parallel of competence, connections, choice, challenge, community, and captivating. What I encourage you to do is, as you're teaching, think of these things. Am I providing some perception of competence? Am I letting them socially engage? Is there some way that I'm challenging them to be an individual and to make individual choices? Am I providing opportunities for social support, enjoyment, choices, etc. as you go through teaching? And what it does is it provides you a tool to make sure you're applying the motivational principles as you go through your lessons. All right, any questions? Yes? Oh, opt out. If you have to track it, but if a kid comes to PE and doesn't feel like being active that day, they don't have to be active. Mostly a high school thing, but it can be an elementary thing as well. Now, you track it, so they need to learn that you use it today. You can sit out if you want today, but you only get to the entire 9 weeks. So if you want to use them today, I do this in my university classes. I give them 2 absences, and some of them use them the first 2 days of class. I'm like, well, that's not real bright, but welcome. I mean, I know there's going to be a Thursday nights it's a little too strong for you, and you're not going to feel like getting up Friday, but they still, or they lose points. So it puts some choices on them. I probably wouldn't go as lower than 3rd grade with that for elementary.
What do you do with them double classes?
They can sit out if they want. That's their option. And but they can, because again, there are days you don't feel like doing it. But they need to learn to be strategic about it. And I had a colleague at the high school level that phones are an issue, obviously, so she allows them to charge their phone if they're active during PE. But if they use their opt-out, they don't get to charge it that day. So, again, yeah, she's good. She was an elementary teacher in a middle school. Do you know Lisa Hager?
Yeah.
She's a middle school, elementary, yeah, and that's a high school teacher. Yeah, they charge their phones if they're active. If they don't get to charge it.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So that's choice, and there's choices involved in that. Does that help explain that? Yeah, okay. All right, do we have the wonderful, everybody have a ticket? Everybody have a ticket? Ticket? All right. I get the honor of doing that. Thank you guys for coming. This was great. I appreciate talking to people and not chairs. 0950216. Yeah, all right.